going to cut through the front of the radiator core support rather than trying to come in from the backside. I usually like to go in from the backside, but in a case like this, because the spots are so close to the lip, I can't get a good purchase on it, as you just saw. So I'm going to have to change operation and go from the front side. I don't like doing that because then I've got to go in and grind all the welds, clean everything up, and make it look pretty on the front side. I got to repaint all the front end anyway, but it's just more of a hassle than coming in from the back side, welding, and just cleaning up the front fascia. That's how it goes sometimes, though. All I'm doing right now is just using the dirt for discovery. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move over to a smaller bit, and I'll use my step bit to come back in and open the holes up even more. Alright, because people are going to give me crap about it, I'm using a little bit of Gibbs oil to keep my bit cool. I like Gibbs oil because it's not rough on paint. It's easy enough to get rid of after the fact. Using a pre-drill like that makes this a lot easier. If you notice, there was a bit of a dust up whenever I went through there. That tells me that at least on 3 sides I have penetrated around the spot. In other words, the spot's been knocked out. Alright, so now I've got to go in and cut out the rest of these. I am going to bore through both panels on the inside of the apron and the bottom section of the apron, just because it's a lot easier to do that. I can weld those from the back side and you're not going to see as much of them. This stuff in here is not going to be able to be seen as much either, just simply because it's in behind a lot of your stuff inside the apron. Even so, I will go in, make a nice solid bump weld here so it sticks up a little bit so I can grind it back to make sure that I get those nice and covered up. So, just more grinding and cutting. Actually 3 there. It's a little hard to see, but there's one here, and there's one wacky off-brand one right here. I think there's one right here as well. These 2 here are going to be a hot mess whenever I try to go in and finish those up. And yes, I know, I should be wearing gloves. I had a guy write in and ask what size gloves I wear. I have no idea because I don't normally wear gloves. What's little metal shavings in your fingers anyway, right? I'm going to bore these out a little large just because I don't want to wreck this hole right here trying to remove this. It's going to be really hard to get in here and separate these, I have a feeling. There aren't any on this side. Sometimes there are over here as well. I know on the Falcons it's usually 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. This car doesn't have that. Not an indictment, not saying it's good or bad, it is. All right, so now I got to get inside the car and inside the engine bay and start working those over here. So that's next. Quality is job one. That spot weld right there, they completely missed it, I think, and went back for it maybe. But the spot is right there. There's another one right here. And then there's these are off center. Must have been a Friday guy. Maybe the new hire. These are going to be more difficult, because the frame rail and the shock tower are much thicker than the original. Interesting thing is there should be a spot weld right here as well. They put the tower in first and they put the apron on. The apron should have gotten a spot weld right there, but there isn't one. So that's kind of an interesting thing. Sometimes it's easier to do what I've done here and go in and actually just knock off all the paint, especially if it's thick. Or you can do like I did on the front and not knock any paint off at all. Since we're going in and refinishing this engine bay, I'm not that worried about it. God, I'd like to have a way to sharpen drill bits. Am I convinced that I have all the welds cut out? No. I never get all of them. I always have to come back in and hit something or just hammer it out. Right, my preferred tools of destruction for taking out a panel like this. I don't know about the rest of this, but this piece that I just laid everything on top of, I can't tell where all the spot welds are because of the work we did and the work that was done before us. They've worked this panel once before. There's filler on it. Whenever I was going through and grinding it, there was a thin skim coat because of the work that they had done, probably to do a minor repair for a front end collision on this car. So I'm bringing my Stex, which are these two tools here in, and this is another one that is a thinner version of the Stex. It's just a lot more dangerous because of how sharp these edges are. But this edge on here will bite under the metal better than the two Stex will initially. I use this one to pop it up in the air and these two to actually knock the spots out of the way if I choose to do so. What I will probably do in this case is go in and actually see if I can find the spots. I might even cut where I've marked my line out here. Put these over to the side. I'm going to probably come in where I marked my line out here with a cutoff wheel, cut this piece loose from the rest of this panel, and then just work this individually because of all the weld work I've done in here. There may be a good bit of grinding that needs to be done in that spot right there. All right, a little less talk, a little more action. Problem with this one is it tends to bounce pretty bad, unlike my Stex. I like these things. If you don't have air, these are great tools to use for this sort of activity. See, there may be a spot right there. Yep. There's a spot there, there's one there. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and cut those two apart so that I can start working around these edges to find where I'm at. Now the reason I marked it right here is the underside of this panel, for this panel here, it stops right before this line I've put in it. But I'm going to grab my cutoff wheel, put some safety glasses on. Well, I've got these on, but I like working with the shield because it just kind of affords me a little bit better protection. Onward and forward. Yeah, right now what I'm running into is actually where I welded in that panel. And there's the spot weld I was talking about. The spot weld I marked. Yep, like I said, there's always one I miss. You can't see some of these because of how they worked this panel before. So I'll have to hit that one and cut it out before I continue down that panel. Kind of a hot tip for you if you're doing this. Put all your tools down on the floor because that's where they're going to end up anyway when you're pounding on this. All I'm trying to do now is to lift up so I'll know where the spots are. I'll tell you, whoever spotted this thing in back in the day went crazy. Typically what I see on these old Mustangs and Cougars is there'll be 4 spots. There'll be one here, one out over on this side a little more, and one right there. This one's got 5, which is kind of unusual. I'm going to have to weld from underneath, which I never like. It's already got one in it. I'm going to wait and work this one and that one in just a second. Most of what's going on here is my old weld work. Whew. Gets sporty sometimes. What happens is the rebound will sometimes get you whenever you're working these things. The problem I'm running into, and this is a problem you're going to have if you do exactly what I'm doing here, is that I'm getting rebound off of this panel. Usually you can get away with doing what I did before. You can see here where we did the repair. It didn't stick to it because it was so rusty underneath. But this is a very thick piece of metal for sheet steel for an old car. So I'm not as worried about these pieces so much as the top piece. You can feel around underneath here. If you feel good solid metal, you're usually okay. And you don't have to go in and repair that part. Fortunately, it's an easy enough piece to set up. I honestly think there might be a spot weld right there. whoever did this side did not want this thing to go anywhere. Out of my way. You can hear the pitch change whenever I hit the spot. It starts to go up in pitch. Yeah, I'm just going to have to cut that one out. I can probably just go in and grind that other one down. Yep, it just popped. I'll go in and grind this one off camera, but that's how that works. Now I've got to go in and mark this one and cut it, and then we'll just start working down the wall. All right, so I want to show you something here real quick. When you have one that rips the edge like this and you can't get the tool back behind it, that's going to cause you a little bit of a problem. You're going to have to probably come in then, hopefully from the back side, and pop that out. Sometimes that doesn't even work, which is why I have this one, because I can go in on the back side back here and hopefully knock that thing loose. You can see it just pop. Another ripper. Sorry to all my Aussie viewers. All right, that's all we got time for this week. We're going to just leave it here with the removal, and then next week we're going to come in and show you exactly how we will put this thing in here. Hot tip, it's already been shot. We're still complying with our 1 week. We're going to do this, and the next week we're going to do that. The next video I am working on is going to be putting a power brake booster in a 67.8 Mustang and getting rid of that cobble piece of crap that they put in here a while back. I don't even want to talk about. But come back for the next video. That will be the installation of these parts. Like I said, it's already shot. We're just going to go ahead and put it together this next week and then put it up, keeping us ahead of our schedule, but also keeping us on schedule. That has to probably be the most confusing thing I've said in the last 6 months on this show. But do me a favor, be kind to each other, love on each other, treat each other nice. You guys have a great week, and we'll see you next time on Autorestomod. I'm not even going to show you that it's done. I'm just going to tell you. You're going to have to guess, because it's done. And it looks really good. Even though I wasn't all that thrilled at first, the part from National Parts Depot went in just fine. I don't know. It worked out.